Around 10:30 p.m. on Monday, July 5th of 2004, that was the last time anyone saw 5-year-old Tamra Disappeared. What followed was one of the largest searches. Missing now for 3.5 days. 3 adults were known to be in the house the night Tamra disappeared, along with her 5 siblings. Tamra's mother, Lorena, Dean MacArthur, Lorena's boyfriend, and family friend Russell Sheepskin all came and went from the Ottawa Street home that night.
Hey everyone, welcome to my channel, Marty Jones Unsolved and Untold, and today we're discussing a case that takes place very close to where I live in Regina, Saskatchewan, Canada in July of 2004. This beautiful 5-year-old girl with straight black hair, cut into a bob, her round, soft cheeks and vivacious smile lit up the room. Her mother would call her Little Einstein because of how smart and brave she was.
The little girl with the big smile.
Mom described her as smart, like Einstein.
It has been wonderful to watch Tamra grow as this year has progressed.
Tamra lived with her mother, Lorena Keepness, her stepfather, Dean MacArthur, and her 5 other siblings, including her identical twin sister. There was a sometimes resident who resided in the home as well, named Russell Sheepskin, who was a family friend and occasional babysitter.
The 5-year-old vanished from her home near downtown Regina in the middle of the night. Her mother acknowledged Tamra and her siblings had been left alone much of that time. Her mother and stepfather later said they were too drunk to remember anything.
These were the 3 adults in and out of the house on the night that Tamra disappeared. Tamra's house was in an area of the city that was known for its addiction and poverty, known to other Regina residents as the Low Stroll. It had a high crime rate, and women and girls would sell their body for drugs and alcohol, and men would drive around this area regularly looking for them. In fact, women have been known to go missing from this area, with a total of 4 missing women from the same streets. Tamra's house is located just a block away from the Oscana Center, a halfway house for recent parolees. In that same neighborhood, there was a homeless shelter that was also struggling with drugs and alcohol. Both places have a history of violent assaults. It's fair to say this was not a safe neighborhood, and this has caused confusion in this case, for many think Tamra wandered away from the home during the night.
Snuck away, but never for this long and never very far. I've always been able to go out and yell for her, and she'll show up like minutes later.
Unfortunately, the police were familiar with Tamra's house as well. Her mother's boyfriend had a history of violence and domestic assault, recently being released from the penitentiary after serving 3 months for a violent assault on Tamra's mother, who also struggled with drugs and alcohol. Lorena Keepness had been reported to social services more than 50 times for neglect of the children. On the night Tamra went missing, all 6 children were in the home with her mother, Lorena Keepness, and her partner, Dean MacArthur. An argument broke out between the 2 of them, and Dean MacArthur took off from the house, running into the sometimes resident Russell Sheepskin, and the 2 of them went out for drinks. Lorena stayed at home with the children. At around 11 p.m., Lorena sent the children up to bed, and she went out to her friend's house about a block away to have some drinks, leaving her oldest daughter, Summer, who was 11 at the time, in charge of the other children.
To bed, and they all paraded upstairs.
At around midnight, Russell Sheepskin came back to the home to make some food, at which time he checked in on the other children. Although he didn't remember making spaghetti, he remembers eating it, and claims to have seen Tamra asleep on the couch downstairs. Shortly thereafter, Lorena came home to check on the children and told Summer to lock the door, that she would be back later that night, and to call her if necessary. At approximately 3 a.m., the police were called to the residence about a fight that broke out on the front steps of the home between the sometimes resident, Russell Sheepskin, and the stepfather, Dean MacArthur, allegedly over Sheepskin allowing Lorena to go back out to party because she would often hook during these times to supply herself with drugs. A beating so bad, Russell ended up having to go to the hospital to get stitches, and Dean MacArthur went to his aunt's house a few blocks away. But Dean didn't arrive until 2 hours later, at around 5:30 a.m. He says that he got lost on the way and kept passing out.
Her mother and stepfather later said they were too drunk to remember anything.
Dean had a history of domestic violence and had recently gotten out of prison for beating Lorena. He had just severely beaten up Russell Sheepskin and sent him to the hospital for letting Lorena go out to party. This shows the mentality and mindset of Dean MacArthur during the short amount of time in which Tamra went missing from the home. It is claimed that no children woke up during the altercation between Russell Sheepskin and Dean MacArthur, but Tamra's brother later said he felt Tamra get up through the night and leave the bed.
Seeing her, he was probably one of the very last people to see her alive.
And my sister was sleeping with me, and then when I went to bed and I woke up, she wasn't there.
He didn't know what time it was, only that it was light out. At around 3:30 a.m., after Russell Sheepskin and Dean MacArthur had both left, Lorena arrived home to a locked door, forcing her to enter through the window before going to sleep herself on the couch downstairs. She remembers seeing two children asleep on the couch as well. The next morning, at about 8 or 9 a.m., Lorena got up to unlock the door for her mother and was aware Tamra was missing until 3 hours later when Lorena realized she hadn't come downstairs.
Come the next morning, we thought, well, we were going to go for a walk, and I sent them to wake her up, and she wasn't there.
At approximately 12:15 p.m., the police were called to report Tamra missing.
This is very, very unusual for a 5-year-old to be missing now for 3.5 days.
The investigation into Tamra's disappearance turned into one of the largest and most expensive searches in Regina's history.
What followed was one of the largest searches for a missing child in Regina's history. Hundreds of police, family members, and volunteers scoured the city and surrounding area.
Despite hundreds of thousands of hours and officers working on this constantly. In fact, the case is still open, and we're constantly investigating new tips. We still don't have a definitive answer, and we still have not located Tamra.
Complete details have never been released, and police wouldn't confirm whether one of the adults that night failed their polygraph. At one point, a Volkswagen that had been stolen the night of Tamra's disappearance turned up outside the city limits, burnt to a crisp. In 2014, the case was sparked again by a map that started circulating with the writing, "Location of Tamra Keepness." The map was posted to Reddit by the username "My Secret Is Out," but this ended up being another dead end. Police searched 21 wells in the area. The case remains open. A reward of $50,000 to help bring Tamra home sits unclaimed.
Last 13 years, police say there have been more than 17,000 tips on the whereabouts of Tamra Keepness. They say this barbecue is a reminder that it is never too late to come forward with information.
I think we have literally tried and exhausted every possible avenue, which is why we're desperately and constantly asking for the public's help in any way with any information that they might have.
There is a $50,000 reward for information leading to Tamra's recovery. Sarah Comedina.
Thank you for watching Marty Jones Unsolved and Untold. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe for more future cases.
It goes by that I don't think about her and wonder where she is, and not only as a police officer but as a mom.
To host a barbecue. It's a chance for not just family, but a whole network to rally together to bring her home.